Hey witches, it's Faye the Fiend, and today I'm talking about the mini shifts that I've experienced. This is not going to go into full shifts, just the minis, and there's only 3 of them, and I didn't script this, so if there's a lot of ums and oh what happened, well, now you know why. Yeah, so let's get into it. So the first time I ever mini shifted, which was the first time I ever shifted, was it was my Chainsaw Man DR, which if you don't know, that's why I'm called Faye the Fiend. If you don't watch Chainsaw Man, basically a fiend is like, in the world they have devils and they're the embodiment of human fear. So they have the war devil, they have the control devil, the blood devil, right? And so a fiend is when the devil possesses the corpse of a human, and so they're kind of like half human, half devil, basically. Yeah, and so because it was the first DR that I shifted to, that is what I named my channel after, Faye the Fiend. Yeah, that one was disturbing. I was on a call with my then boyfriend, and then we were falling asleep basically, and I felt someone like petting my head really hard, and I was like, what the hell? So I opened my eyes, and it was Makima, and that was very disturbing, because if you know, you know. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, and I remember having a thought like, wait a minute, why is she petting me? Like, I don't know why like in the DR I felt like it was romantic, and I was like, she's not my significant other. And when I had that thought, I like shifted back, and I was like, god damn it. But when you're in it, like, it's hard to, it's weird. It kind of reminds me of astral projection, like, you know, you'll be, or lucid dreaming, right? And then something weird happens and you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. And then it like takes you out of the dream, or it takes you out of the projection. Yeah, usually it takes me out of something and leads me into sleep paralysis. So that's unfortunate, but, yeah, so that's, luckily this time, I don't experience sleep paralysis with shifting. I do with lucid dreaming, and I definitely do with astral projection, and I'm not very experienced in that, so, yeah. Anyway, and then my second mini shift happened with Fred, and that was my Harry Potter DR. So basically, I kind of just want to run around doing stupid shit in my Hogwarts DR. But when I came to, I think this was like the first time where I shifted and I wasn't, usually when I wake up, it's like in a bed, or like I'm also waking up in the DR. I think this is the first shift where like I woke up and I was standing up, and I was like, you know, like when I came back to my CR, I was like, what the hell? Because usually, I don't know, I've never had that happen where like you're already existing and you just exist. Like usually I wake up into this DR, but no. So I remember I was in the castle, and I was looking out a window, like there was just a bunch of light coming in, and then I turn over and I see Fred like asking Hermione to the Yule Ball, and I was like, this is really lame. And when I had that thought, like I shifted back. So again, not anything crazy, but they were so cute, and it's such a Fred thing to have like an audience witnessing this like promposal situation, right? It's like whatever. Anyway, so that was the end of that mini shift. And then for my third mini shift, that was My Hero Academia DR. And that one was insane. Basically, I was falling asleep. Well, I had already fallen asleep, so I guess I was like in that in-between state when you wake up. But my eyes were closed, and I suddenly hear Alice in Chains playing. and it was really loud, and oh my god, his voice is amazing. It was the song Man in the Box, you know, where he's like, Jesus Christ. If you haven't heard it, go hear it right now. It's so good. So yeah, so that song was playing, and I had my eyes closed, and I was like, oh wow, it sounds like my neighbors are playing music. I was like, wait a minute, my neighbors don't have good taste. And so I opened my eyes, and I'm like in Dobby's room. It wasn't like, I did wake up in his bed, but it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. It was weird. Like, let's say this is the bed, right? If I'm laying down here, he's laying across, like right here, and his like feet are dangling off, and that's what I saw. I saw his like there's like this niche meme in the My Hero Academia community where they call it his church shoes, which is like before he got before he got the really cool goth boots, he had those like weird like pilgrim looking shoes. I don't know, but yeah, so I saw those, and it was like, what the heck? And I looked down to the side of the bed, and I see my checkered Vans, and I look up, and there's like a shelf of like vinyls, and it's like Alice in Chains playing in the background. But like a week before I had shifted here, I remember I had promised my guides at the time that I would stay away from Dobby because, need I say more, homicidal maniac who, you know, whatever. But I'm so attracted to the League. The League is so cool. I'm like, yeah, I know they're like murderous, and you know, it just sucks because like your DR is like very real, and you know, like, do you really want to experience those traumatic events? You gotta ask yourself. So I had told him I wouldn't. And I remember when I looked at Dobby, I was like, God damn it, like, I can't stay here because they said I wouldn't. And so, like, disappointedly, I was like, okay, like, I closed my eyes and I was like, send me back, and it did. So you don't need a safe word, actually, contrary to popular belief. But yeah, that was pretty much it. And then, I mean, bonus mini shift. There was one time where I had shifted. I remember trying like really hard for days trying to shift, and when I finally did, I woke up in like what would have been my apartment that I had scripted in my Hero Academia DR, but it was like all my DRs were mixed together. It was really weird. So I have a Being Human DR, which is like about werewolves and vampires, and that was like playing on the television. And then I was in my Hero Academia DR, but I could see like Snape in the back, and I was like, what the fuck is it was like some hodgepodge of like all my DRs. It was a mess. But I remember I was like, okay, because I had been watching what's their name? C Shift Post. Love them, so you guys should go check them out if you haven't already, which you probably have. But yeah, and they stressed the importance of like grounding yourself. And so I remember when I was there, even though it was chaotic, I was like, oh, I have to ground myself. And I touched the couches to try and like ground myself into the DR. And I literally, like, it freaked me out because, I mean, I didn't script leather couches, but for whatever reason, they were leather. And so when I touched them, it literally felt like touching something in this reality. It's so weird and bizarre, and it freaked me out so bad. Like, I got out of that, and I couldn't ground myself again, and then it was kind of like a dream. Which is why and I'm not trying to tell you you're wrong or force my beliefs on anyone, but that's why I personally believe that they're, sorry, I'm getting a phone call. I think shifting is just like a further step into lucid dreaming. It is like this reality, so I can see why people think it's like another dimension. But for me personally, I feel like because there's just too much, I don't know, like, they're just too connected. Like, I find it, obviously they're distinct from one another, but I still think it's like a form of a lucid dream. But anywho, yeah, still very distinct from a lucid dream. I'm not calling it a lucid dream because because I feel like in lucid dreaming, I feel like I'm getting derailed. Maybe this is another video, but in lucid dreaming, it's still kind of like nonsensical, right? Like, I'm in my bedroom, and then I open the door, and there's an airport, and then in the airport, they're selling stuff, but they only accept Monopoly money. And when I give them Monopoly money, they give me back Indian currency. Like, nothing makes sense. It's, even though you're aware and you can change things if you want to, like, it's still pretty nonsensical. But like in shifting, it's like very much like this reality. There's consequences, like time passes by, the same that it does here. It's just, it's very different. But I do still think they're connected. So anywho, yeah, those are my shifting experiences. They're mini shifting, which is why they're so short. I hope you enjoy them, and I would love to hear everybody's experiences in the comments if you're interested in sharing, because I feel like the shifting community has kind of died down. And so, you know, if you're shifting and you're not a content creator, so you're not going to share your stories anyway, like, please share them in the comments, because I still want to hear all the cool stuff that happens. Yeah, anyways, if you're interested in more shifting or witchy content, subscribe to my channel. I'll probably be here for a majority of my content creation, just because I feel like TikTok is a little hit or miss nowadays, and there's a lot of I'll stop talking. But yeah, thank you for watching.